is a nice, friendly group. Lovely. Well, we're in a very good mood. We just had the highest poll numbers I've ever had. Ever. And actually a record for a Republican. Now, I don't know about have they checked the Democrats too, but we have a record so far for a Republican. Now, it's 4 weeks. We have a lot of weeks to go. We want to finish that way, right? But I just want to thank everybody because you've been really amazing. The job you've done has been incredible in terms of this 4-week period. It's been a very somewhat historic 4 weeks, and we have a couple of things in the works. We're negotiating with Russia, Ukraine, trying to get that horrible situation over with. It's terrible. It's just so terrible. I see pictures that you fortunately don't get to see. You don't want to see them. And that is a killing field. You have young soldiers being killed, thousands a week, and we got to get it over with. It's bad for Russia, and it's bad for Ukraine, and it's bad for us on a humanitarian basis. I've had very good talks with Putin, and I've had not such good talks with Ukraine. They don't have any cards, but they play it tough. But we're not going to let this continue. This war is terrible. It would have never happened if I were president, but it did happen, so I got stuck with it, and the whole world is stuck with it. And right now you have a country that has its cities, they look like demolition sites. Those beautiful towers, those 1,000-year-old golden domes that were so beautiful, the most beautiful in the world, they say, they're all in smithereens. Millions of people are killed, I think far more people than anyone understands. And we have people that better get to the table and get it ended. Should have never happened. It would have never happened. But I'm delighted to welcome America's governors to the White House. You're amazing people. Even the Democrats are amazing people, some of you. And we've worked together. Actually, we work very well together. I can't think of anybody. There's one or two, yeah, that it doesn't work out so well, but that's sort of normal. But I do want to welcome you, and I want to let you know that anything I can do, I'm here. I'm here for you. And we can do a lot. I do want to say that I left a great place, North Carolina, and we're really working hard there since I've been in. For 4 weeks, we've done more than they've did in all of the period of time. And FEMA was a disaster. FEMA wasn't there. They didn't do the job. And it was a terrible, terrible situation. I've never seen anything like it. And then they actually, when they did get there, a very small group, they chose anybody with an American flag or the name Trump on the front of the house. They would sort of skip that house very nicely. And it was just a disaster. And we've done it the other way. And we're working with a very nice person that we've had good relationships, the newly elected Democrat governor, who's here, I assume, is he? Okay, thank you very much. We're working well together, very well together. And we're not using FEMA so much, but it doesn't matter as long as we get the job done. But the people are becoming very happy. So I want to thank you very much. It's a great job. But we are, and I'm of the opinion, I understand FEMA very well. We had a good situation with FEMA, but it was a very expensive thing to do. And I really believe when there's a natural disaster, a hurricane, a tornado, or whatever it may be, you're very capable people. It's called you fix it. You take care of it yourselves. You don't have to call some faraway state and have people planed in from areas that they have no idea. They come in from Alaska to help you in Florida. They say, boy, this is hot here. By the time they figure it out, everything would have been fixed. It's not a good situation. It's very expensive. You spend at least twice as much. They don't negotiate. They go out and hire local contractors, and they have no idea who they are. But today I'm delighted to welcome America's governors to the White House, and I've known many of you for a long, long time. And this week we're forging even stronger bonds of cooperation to better serve the American people. And we're making amazing progress. I mean, we've made more progress on that situation, which is Ukraine, but we're also working very hard in the Middle East. Another one that wouldn't have happened, we would never have had, you wouldn't have had October 7th. They had no money, Iran was broke. We had sanctions up on Iran that nobody's ever seen before. They were literally broke, and they were not giving any money to Hezbollah, to Hamas. And how about Hamas yesterday with the babies? How about that? You know, we're going to take that. We're going to continue to take that. I don't think so. But I want to just thank you, Marco, for doing a great job, and Scott, you also. Scott went all the way to Ukraine. I said, don't do it. That's why they have telephones. But it's always better to meet in person. But I just didn't feel that it was good. And it was dangerous. You saw things on that train ride that you didn't like, I understand. You know, it's a pretty dangerous ride. The long ride, how long was that? 10 hours. 10-hour ride. That's after you get there. And a very dangerous journey, but he wanted to do it. He's a patriot. He wanted to do it. It's better to do it than it is with a telephone. Always better. I always say much better to meet in person, but that was dangerous. I like him. Therefore, I didn't want him to do it. If I didn't like him, I would have suggested he do it. In fact, I'd say, go back today and let's give it another shot. But I hear that they're going to agree pretty much with what. But that's not the big thing. The big thing is getting it done. And we'll get it done. But and we inherited all of the problems. You know, at some point, a few months down the road, we won't be able to say it's so much us. But the big things, really, we can blame other people for, to allow criminals into our country at levels that nobody's ever seen before, to allow people from jails, to have countries from all over the world be allowed to empty jails into an open border. They emptied jails and prisons, mental institutions, insane asylum, gang members, drug lords, drug people on drugs, people that are very sick. They allowed them to come into our country totally unchecked, unvetted. And right now we have a great gentleman, Tom Homan, who's doing an unbelievable job, and Christine Ohm. They're doing a great job, but it's something we should have never had to be done. And you see the levels of crime that these are serious. They make our criminals look nice, I'll tell you. That's the only thing we get out of it. Our criminals are very nice people by comparison. These are seriously tough people. The various gangs, whether it's MS-13 or the Venezuelan gangs, they're as tough as nobody's ever seen toughness like this. Secretary of Health and Human Services, nobody knows this particular gentleman. He sailed right through. I thought he'd get a lot of, I said, well, he's going to get a lot of Democrat votes, Ron. I said, he's going to be an easy one, right? I told Ron DeSantis, I said, this one's going to be so easy. He's going to get all those Democrat votes. I don't know. You thank goodness for the Republicans, right? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And where is Bobby? Where is Bobby? So congratulations. Was that as easy as you thought? Just quit. Well, in the end, they all voted for him. He did pretty well. He got through. But, we have one stat that I quote, the autism stat. And you hear different numbers, but it's thousands. They say between 10 and 20,000. So if you go back 15 years ago, we had like nobody. It was 1 in 20,000. Now we have 1 in 34. Is that right? 34. So 34 or 36 kids have autism. And if you go back, I guess 18 years, that whenever that was done, it was 1 in 20,000. So we got from 20,000 to 34, 36. That's unbelievable. So there's something wrong. There's something wrong. We've done something wrong. There's something, you're going to figure it out. Maybe it's a spray that we spray all over the place that nobody else does. Other countries don't. The Pennsylvania Dutch, they don't do anything, and they're amazingly healthy. And he understands. He's working with Dr. Oz, who's a really smart guy. I know him very well. And those two guys are going to figure it out. They're also going to figure out why in the United States we pay $1,300 for a drug, one that we were talking about, and in London they pay, literally they pay $200, even less. $88, I heard in one case yesterday. They pay $88, we pay $1,300 for the exact same drug from the exact same factory, from the same plant where it's made. We've got to figure that out. So I hope you focus really a lot on the cost too, because Americans are being screwed, and it's no good. They're not going to put up with it. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Where's Tulsi? Is she here? Hi, Tulsi. I haven't really seen you. Good luck. Do well. Have fun. We built a building. The building cost like $12 billion. The building is loaded up with intelligence. Lots of luck figuring it out, right? Good. It was. He was treated pretty rough for a person that's an incredible patriot. We've all known that. So it's nice that you're sitting with Bobby, because you too, you went through a lot. But you know what? You're going to be stars. And over the past month, our new administration has taken unrelenting action to fix every single disaster that we inherited, and we inherited a lot of them, the border being, I think it's the most difficult one of all. The rest we can get fixed, including foreign countries that are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And one of the reasons that we won the election by so much, because we won it in everywhere. We won the popular vote. We won the 7 swing states, all 7 by a lot. And we won by millions of votes, the popular. It's always hard. I guess it hasn't happened in a couple of decades for a Republican to win the popular vote. I think that's changing so rapidly. But we had another thing that was pretty amazing. We had, of the 3,000 counties, we won 2,500 of them. And the Democrats won 500. It's a lot. They've never seen anything like it. It would actually, you would have thought that the numbers would even be much higher. When you win 2,500 counties to 500 counties, that's, when you look at the map, you've all seen the map, the one that got certified and came out just recently. It's like almost totally red. And it's my honor. We're going to just work it out. But we've really become the party of common sense, and I think it's important. I think it's important for the Democrats' common sense, too. We're going to deal with you, and we're going to deal on a common sense basis. And I know a lot of you agree with a lot of the things. I don't know, sometimes you're not allowed to say it, unfortunately, but I think we'll be all better off. On day one, I declared a national emergency on our southern border to stop the invasion of our country, because we were being invaded. Millions and millions of people. I figure 21 million people, and of that, 2 or 3 million were criminals. And many of them were people that countries didn't want. They would put them in these massive, large caravans. I came up with that name a long time ago. That's what it is. It's a caravan. And these are people, in many cases, they might not be criminals, but they're people that the country didn't want. They didn't work. They needed help all the time, or they needed assistance, or whatever. Our country's got a lot of people in it right now. And we're going to make sure that everybody's treated fairly, but we got to change it. It's the most difficult problem, I think. We created the new Department of Government Efficiency, which you may have heard about, DOGE, which is now waging war on government waste, fraud, and abuse. And we've begun the largest deregulation of industries and other things. It's proper deregulation that has ever done. I lead the way. On my first 4 years, we did more deregulation than any other president in history. One other thing, I just before we leave, I think you should do this. For my safety and security and for the good of our nation, you should do it anyway, regardless, even if it costs 10 times more. But it actually costs you just a tiny fraction. If you went to paper ballots and you're voting, and I would hope that every Republican would, so it costs exactly 8% of what the machines cost, these machines. So paper ballots, and paper is very sophisticated today. Paper, it's called watermark. It's impossible to copy, impossible to cheat. It's actually hard to believe that a piece of paper is highly sophisticated, but it's watermark, and it's it's amazing actually when you see it. You can't cheat. But if you went to paper ballots and same-day voting, and if you went to voter ID, and also one other thing, you want a proof of citizenship. Those 4 things: proof of citizenship, voter ID, paper ballots, one-day voting. And if you went to 2-day voting or 3-day voting. But some of these states, you had 64 days. You know, California just finished up just a short while ago. They were voting a week and a half ago. They tried to finish him up. And other states, too. They were weeks after the election. I mean, if that were a close election, you'd have to wait for weeks and weeks and weeks. You got finished fast, Brian. Thank you for your help. We did very well in Georgia. That was very nice. But some of these states, if you had a close election, you wouldn't know who won. And then, once that happens, then you really never know who won. 2 weeks ago, I signed an executive order banning men from playing in women's sports. Many Democrats are fighting me on that. I hope you continue, because you'll never win another race. And it's just crazy. If you look at what happened with the boxing, if you look at what happened with the weightlifting. So we put a ban on it, and to protect women. I mean, the women, if you watch the Olympics, you had 2 transitioned people that were fighting in the women's boxing. They have women's boxing category. And if you saw that, it was brutal. What happened to the Italian woman was a really good boxer. After one punch, she said, no more. I've never been hit. It was a left. It was not even it was just a left jab. She got hit so hard, she said, I can't do it. They forced her to go out. No, go out again. You'll do it. Goes out again, gets hit again. No, that's it. She didn't want to die. And it's crazy, but the NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it, because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply, because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding. Every state, good, I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor, because I don't think you'll be in elected politics. Every state has a responsibility to comply with Title IX. They have an obligation, a legal obligation, and we'll be enforcing aggressively, and we're going to be protecting our citizens. We're going to protect.
And also there's fentanyl coming in, I think, to all of these states. That's a real problem, and I think that everyone is sharing that.
Thank you, Henry. So I had a deal with President Xi just prior to leaving office, but before the election, that President Xi was going to give the maximum penalty to anybody sending fentanyl into the United States. His maximum penalty is death. If you notice that every country that has the death penalty has no drug problem, they execute drug dealers. And when you think about it, it's very humane, because every drug dealer, on average, they say, kills at least 500 people, not to mention the damage they do to so many others, but they kill large numbers of people. China, Singapore, actually there are quite a few, many in Asia, where they have the death penalty. There's no drug problem whatsoever. They come to our country because we have a much softer policy. We give them a slap on the wrist and say, kill a lot of people. So we are going to, I don't know if our country is ready for it. I am ready for it. The death penalty, if you deal drugs, you have to set out guidelines like fairly large numbers, etc. But you'll have it go down very greatly. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to do an advertising campaign. They're working on it right now, and that's saying how bad drugs are for you. And if you did that, and I'm going to do it, I think we can get drugs way down. I think we can get it down by 50% when you see it. I've seen some of the ads. It's, man, if a person looks at the ads that I saw, they're not going to be taking drugs. So good question. Thank you, Henry, very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.